Hi. Today is the part 3 of Today I Bless My Junk. Hashtag me too. Part 3 in the series. And today we're going to talk about what happens when we speak out. Why women wait 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, maybe 60 years to speak out. And then we're going to talk about the 10 tips on what you can do to change the future. So this is going to incorporate my story because that's important for you to understand my background. Why wait? Why speak now? Don't be fooled by the bogus apologies. When will all this end? And then again, we're going to end with the 10 tips on what you can do today to change the future. So my story, if you listen to Today I Bless My Junk, part 1 in the series, which there'll be a link at the bottom of the video. And I talk about all the things that had happened to me. And there were only 2 times I actually advocated for myself. The first time I did was when I had worked with my first job for a company called PSS, which is Physician Sales and Service. And I was groped, grabbed, and sexually harassed by my boss. All kinds of sexual fantasies used to be whispered to me on a consistent basis. And when I thought, being young, I guess naive, that if I complained to the company management that the behaviors would stop. When I complained, I was subsequently fired within 24 hours after my complaint. And I was 23 years old. The second time I thought I spoke up, and I really spoke up not so much for myself, but because I have 3 children. And I felt as Mother Bear, I needed to protect them. And that was against my abuser that I married. So this was in regards to domestic violence and child abuse. So when I originally left my abuser, it started off as an abuse case. DCF was involved in my case, as well as the courts and restraining orders. So I experienced retaliation very strongly in both times. With my second abuser, I lost my business, I lost my home, I lost custody of my children, I lost my entire life savings to the point of homelessness. My father had his entire life savings stolen by my ex-husband and put my father in chapter 7, I forget which chapter, but in bankruptcy court where he almost lost everything as an elderly man. Everything he owned. He almost ended up on the streets as well. So the retaliation is real. Okay. So why do we wait? First of all, you got to understand that abusers only understand the lingo of power and control. Many of these individuals either have connections or they know people or they are in a position of power and control. That's how they control people. That's how they abuse. And unfortunately, when you reject certain individuals or you stand up and you say no, retaliation hits. So there's a lot of fear. So why? Because of fear. Why? Because of retaliation. Look at what Trump has done to his accusers. He has threatened them with lawsuits so big, their lives would be completely destroyed. Weinstein hired ex-Israeli military to target, bully, and threaten his accusers, plus some. The threats are real, I promise you. Talk to a few of us who have gone through it and we will tell you the threats are very real. Why? Why wait? Whistleblowers don't get accolades. Look at, even in the movies, we see it all the time. Whistleblowers don't get accolades. There's no rewards. Careers and lives are destroyed. Children are removed from loving, protective parents. It's an absolute epidemic in this country. Why wait? Because the system and leadership is riddled with abusers and pedophiles. Look at the Judge Roy Moore of Alabama, who is a pedophile. Can you get, hello, you can't get any more powerful. You have Judge Garcia in Michigan, who incarcerated 3 minor children until they were 18. Why? Because they refused a visitation with their abuser. Did she get in trouble? Yes. With a lot of national pressure and press, the state of Michigan warranted that she was guilty and only sanctioned her a 30-day suspension and allowed to go back on the bench and render decisions just like that all over again. There is no recourse for survivors of abuse. There is no protections with these people in a position of power. That's why we wait. That's why we wait. Why do we wait? Why do we wait so long? We wait so long because, one, you got to understand that sometimes it's part of the healing. Okay, you go through, sometimes there's repressed memories because you have to for survival, especially if it's ongoing. Maybe these women, for instance, finally feel safe now against Roy Moore. You got a national spotlight. There's a sense of protection. They are not looking for fame and fortune. For them, it's a way of feeling protected and safe, that they're not going to be harmed if they speak out. So it's more of a safety issue. They're not looking for rewards. If you only know what happens when you speak out, you are retaliated. So they don't do it for fame and fortune. So, and I'm speaking from experience. I waited to tell the rest of my story, as I did in the first video, was because, one, I feel more empowered. It's been a 12-year healing journey for me since I left my abuser. I no longer feel the ridicule and the judgment because I understand that what happened to me was not my fault. I'm a good person. I've done a lot of work for the community. I don't abuse drugs. I don't abuse alcohol. None of these things warranted what I got. But yet our communities judge the victims. They never judge the abuser. They always judge the victim. So we have to stop. Okay? I won't lie to you. Am I afraid of retaliation even with this video? Absolutely. But it's not going to stop me because I know I have a message and it needs to get out there. Okay? And we have strength in numbers, so I'm hoping that other survivors will also find more empowerment to speak out as well. So number 4, these bogus, don't be fooled by these bogus apologies like Matt Lauer, okay? Let me say something. Are they really sorry about their behavior, or are they sorry they got caught? They are always feel sorry when they get busted. There's no refuting. They're embarrassed, not because of their behavior. They're embarrassed because they got caught. Because if they were embarrassed by their behavior, they would have stopped. Okay? I have no sympathy for these people. I don't. And I'm cheering on every survivor of abuse that has the courage to stand up. All these abusers care about is power and control, and when they lose it and they realize their power has been stripped, it's only then that they suddenly have a heart. And I'm hoping that changes. I'm hoping that changes them and it changes their behavior. But from my experience, I doubt it. It's just their way to try to brainwash you into sympathy for the abuser, not the survivor, the person they harmed. When will all this end? It will end when men stop abusing women. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Women have been silenced for too long. I grew up very tomboyish, and I thought I had every right that man had until I experienced what I experienced with my ex-husband. And let me tell you, I have never felt so disempowered going through the system and realizing how much I was not equal to man. I was far from it. It will end when we care about survivors more than we do perpetrators. Okay, that's when it will end. So here are the 10 tips that you can do today. One is to stop. Yes, stop. Tip number 2 is to pause. Yes, pause. Before you jump to judgment or conclusions or victim blaming, you need to do those first 2 steps. The third step is to be aware. Recognize the toll that these abuses have had on survivors and loved ones, because after all, they are somebody's mother, somebody's sister, somebody's daughter, somebody's wife, somebody's girlfriend. So it not only affects them, but it affects the people around them as well. Tip number 4, if you want a different world, then you must choose different actions. Think about that. Did you vote for the Donald Trumps of the world? You can't vote for the Donald Trumps of the world who really has no regard for women and feels abuse of women is okay. You can't vote for the Roy Moores of the world when he is a sexual predator on young minor girls and is a pedophile. So you can't expect different results if we're not going to change our behaviors. So we have to understand that if those 2 individuals raped our daughter or our wife, would we have still voted for them? I want you to think about that. Because if it was you, I guarantee your actions would be different. Number 5, we must work on cleaning up our own junk. If we've been hurt, or if somebody in our family has been hurt, the universe, as I stated in the first video, has been really bringing up a lot of our shadows to the surface, bringing a lot of our truths to the surface. So we need to work on cleaning up our own junk. Okay? When we clean up our own junk, we create a much healthier external environment when our internal environments are healthy. Number 6, and this is especially for men. Men, you need to call out the inappropriate behaviors of your friends, and you need to make them accountable. Don't dismiss victims' claims. Don't victim blame. Don't be an asshole and turn a blind eye, and don't enable the abuser to continue their patterns of abuse. Victims need allies. They don't need bystander abusers. So tip number 7 is be an ally. Don't be a bystander abuser. Okay? And I want you to think about this. Do you really respect women? And I want women to even answer this. Do you respect other women? Because I see a lot of women tearing victims, the women that have been victimized, and saying some horrible things that my head just shakes. So I want you to get real with yourself. I want you to get raw. And do you really respect? Do you even respect yourself? Think about it. Do your actions speak of respect? Do you do things like share your ex-girlfriend's naked pictures to your friends? Do you bully another woman into sexting until she finally gives in? Do you corner a woman in a bar and make her feel uncomfortable until she gives you what you want? Do you grab her boob or grab her ass and then laugh it off as if it's not a big deal? Do you cop your feels? Think about it. You need to change your behaviors. Tip number 8, we need to change teaching our children better. We need to teach our children better. We need to teach our girls that it's not okay for men to touch you, that it's not okay to be roofied and to slough it off the next day as if it's not a big deal, that it's not okay to be raped or sexually harassed or bullied. We need to teach our women to have more self-respect. We need to teach women that to not freely, in a sense, give yourself to a man just so you could be accepted into a social crowd. I'm hearing a lot of this with the young teenage girls. They're being bullied into having sex when they don't want to, just so they don't be bullied. That's still, in my opinion, rape. I mean, yes, they're willing, but they're being bullied into it. So how does that appropriate? We need to teach our boys how to respect and honor the woman as if they are the womb and that births life for all. Okay? We need to, tip number 9, practice mindfulness and the art of presence. We need to be here. Our mind and our bodies need to be here together as one. We need to be here. We need to free ourselves of the past and let go of the worries of the future and clean up our stuff in the present and work there. That's where the solutions lie. And finally, tip number 10, shift your vibration and clean it up. Clean it up. I'm hoping what I shared with you today inspires you, and I would love your feedback, as this is important for me. This is a new journey for me. I am not an expert at making videos, but I would really love your support and where we're going with this. Thank you. Have a great day.